Making it last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives.
Hi, I'm Dr. Grace. We started talking about the 5 stages of grief last week, and we welcome you back as we continue this conversation.
Anger.
The anger is that stage where you look at the reality of what happened and you try to unpack that. And you're thinking, what if? So you blame the doctors. You blame the pastor who said, let's pray instead of going to the doctor. You blame God because you feel God should have done something. You blame even the person who died because they may not have come to you early enough to say, I was going through this. So the blaming, and so that fuels the anger. And you become upset because your desire was not fulfilled. Something else happened. You don't want your mommy to die. So you're angry. So the emotions that are there needs to be managed appropriately. But if you feel anger when someone dies, it's okay because it's a part of the process.
Okay. Before we go on to the next one, which is bargaining, is this a process that happens specifically in this order, or is there a way that I might start out with the very first one, but then go straight to the fourth one, which is depression, and then, is it that it specifically happens in that particular order, or is it that these 5 stages happen at some point?
Excellent question. It's not a linear process.
Okay.
So it doesn't go stage and step by step.
Okay.
You're correct when you ask the question, is it? You can immediately move from anger to acceptance.
Okay.
But you may go back from acceptance to anger, denial, depression. Imagine yourself on the beach, those of you who, Jamaicans on a whole, but those other persons who have visited the beach. And imagine a very rough sea. And the waves are coming in at you. So the waves come in and you're at the edge. It knocks you down and it pulls you out and then it carries you and throws you back. Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
So don't expect to see someone, okay, they're in denial, okay, you sit down and you watch, okay, so when are they going to get angry now? And they get angry and it's not
how it works.
No, it's not linear. It's it can go anywhere, and also relapse can happen.
Okay.
So even after a while, when someone who may have had serious depression to the point where they have to get psychiatric care, they may come through that. But then there is another time when they go back to the state of, okay, I don't know what's happening to me today, and the bounce of emotions, it's very prominent during different phases.
Okay.
And so behavioral challenges occur, and some people, it even push them towards antisocial behaviors or inappropriate behaviors, drug use, hyperactivity with other things, and over-sexualized and all of those things. So young children and youth, when they go through a certain phase and they have had significant loss or pain and you see their behavior change, just be patient with them and support them.
Yeah. Take us through bargaining.
Bargaining, as was mentioned earlier, it's like, okay, I'm not ready for this. So the brain is telling you that there has to be an answer. There has to be a way out. And so you make bargains with yourself, you make bargains with others, and you make bargains with God. It's like a barter system. You're trying to exchange something. You're exchanging probably anger for some more calm. You're trying to exchange something. So the bargaining phase is one of the most challenging, because during that time, and one of the things that we do recommend is that persons do not make long-term decisions when they are going through the grieving process because part of the bargaining could be even giving away things because you want to have something in space of. And so you make certain decisions, lifetime decisions, and then later on when you're out of this phase, you're like, oh, what did I do? How could this happen to me? And then that poses additional challenge. So as the word suggests, you're trying to make bargain. You're trying to exchange something. And most times it's a pain. You're trying to exchange for something that brings you the kind of calm, peace, and serenity. Maybe it's just for a moment, but people do that. It's a natural part of the process.
I have a follow-up question, but I'll have you take us through the last two, which is depression and then acceptance.
All right, the bounds of depression, persons will have, it will come feeling of loneliness, feeling of helplessness, feeling of being dejected and abandoned. And a part of the process that some other authors include in their conversation about grief is despair, when despair sets in. And my research, I found the definition for despair that stuck with me is being at that place where it feels as if there is no God. It's the darkest depth that you can be in. When you are in that stage of depression, that's when you need assistance and help most. You, most times, either a counselor or probably a friend who is capable of appreciating and understanding what's happening to you and supporting you. They don't have to be a therapist. But you, right now, I'm talking, and the level of attending that you are doing is phenomenal, because I feel that I'm being heard, I feel that I am being understood, and I feel that just being here in your presence is worthwhile. That's the kind of attending I see you're doing now. It's not a counseling session, but in life, when people are in that space, they need this kind of attention.
Kubler-Ross, the psychiatrist, has labeled it 5 stages. They're not linear, so you just never know. So you might not be going through these stages, but you need to pay attention so you can then lend the support to someone who might be. So we must take a break and get a word from our partners. We'll be right back.
And wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life. We won't live in the past. We're making it last. Mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, friends forever.
Langdo Language Institute was created to meet your language and communication needs. All of our packages were created just for you. We are passionate about language and dedicated to your success. We offer the CSEC English program, the Study Buddy program, the Get Ahead with English program, and the Business Communication program. Contact us at 767-285-0938 or email us at langdolanguage@gmail.com, because the real question is, how can we help you?
You can't live your best life without a healthy immune system. Boost your immune system the delicious way with Zappy's organic juices and punches. Made from local produce with zero added sugar, our juices cleanse and revitalize your body as they boost your natural immunity. Try our delicious flavors: Beat It, Berry Bomb, Get Fresh, Ton Up, and Island Splash. Find us on Instagram at Zappies Organics, or call or send a WhatsApp message at 1-876-779-8910 to order today. That's 1-876-779-8910. Zappies Organic Juices and Punches. Live your best life today.
For all your events such as educational forums, workshops, book launches, weddings, and more, contact Noreen Daly, the ultimate MC and event host. Visit noreendaily.com or follow her on Instagram at Noreen Daily Jam. Noreen Daily, creating long-lasting memories.
Last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers.
This continues to be a thought-provoking conversation and a necessary conversation, given all the grief that continues to happen around us.
But you know, one of the things I must say, because I don't want to forget it, a lot of times this is the point people feel abandoned and the despair kicks in because people usually leave them at that stage. That's the stage where they need them most. Wow. But I have come to appreciate having treated with so many challenges of grief and all culture and whatever, you know, you just find that, hey, this moment is where, as a support person or a caregiver, I am trying to help you. I recognize that I can't help you. And so in order to protect me and you, I back away. What do I mean by that? Your pain is so pronounced that your pain becomes a trigger to my pain. So in order not to hurt you, I want to protect you, and I'm seriously going to be protecting myself. I just stay away. But most times, the person on the other hand misinterprets it to mean that you do not care. But I care enough that I need to be away from you for now. But I don't have the language to communicate that. So this depression, it's real. And for some people, somebody might say, how is it that you're just grieving and you get into depression and to the point where you have to be treated, you know, even with medication. If it is necessary that you're treated with medication and the diagnosis is right, it's okay, because it doesn't have to be forever. But
just
during the
period.
depression, that period, people need to be supported. So look out for the lonely feeling, look out for the feeling of helplessness, and look out for feeling that, hey, you're not wanted and that the world is against you. Some of those thoughts. And I'm using more simply way so that everyone can understand and relate. And appreciate that.
Okay. And finally, acceptance.
The acceptance is like, okay, so you've gone through the anger, you've gone through the denial, the anger, the bargaining, the depression, and you're like, wow, it really happened. She's not here, he's not here. I can't touch him, I can't feel him, I can't hear him. The time when you get a joke and you pick up the phone and like, hey mom, or dad, you know, you want to call, you want to talk with them, and you actually dial the number and you realize, oh, but they're not going to be on the other side to answer. So it's at that stage where your mind come to term with the loss and you accept that this is for real, and you now start looking into living your life. Some people include this as part of the stage where they call it adjusting or adapting to accepting a new normal, a new way of life. So you know you have to live without the person being there, so you accept that they are gone and they are not going to be coming back. Because for children, which is significant, when they are going through the grieving process, there's a stage where they call it the searching behavior, where they will look under the closet, look under the bed, look through the window and keep looking around for the person who has died because they're expecting them to come back. So if it is a child, the acceptance for them would be, some of them would say, Mama now come back, you know, my mom is dead and not going to be coming back. Or some persons use the term about they're going to heaven. We know differently, but for them that's what brings comfort. So they accept that, hey, they're not physically here and they won't ever be here with us. That's what the acceptance part is about.
But all of what you said, is it really possible to, I don't want to use the word overcome, but that's a word that's coming to me because I really don't think that you can overcome. But is it really possible then to really cope given all of what you just described? Is it possible to cope? It is
absolutely possible to get through your pain.
Okay.
The coping mechanisms, that's going to be very critical. They can be learned. You can be taught them through counseling. And it's very important. You know, gone are the days when people think that when you go to a counselor it's because you're mad. Gone are those days. People are now recognizing that they need support to get through their challenges. So you are going to need the support to get to that point. I mentioned earlier about the intensity of the pain and that grieving is like it's a forever thing.
Right.
So imagine that when the hurt happened, the pain is thick, tight. So you are clenching. You know, one author, I have a quotation that says, sometimes we clench to the pain so tightly or hold it so tightly to our chest that we don't have time to open our hands to healing or to possibilities. So when imagine you are this tight today, 3 weeks down the road, it is still intense, but it's not that. And as soon as the pain is lessened, you are appreciating or should be appreciating the fact that you are healing. So when your parents or your sibling or the person die, you're like, I can't live without you. How am I going to go on? And then you find yourself living through that. And you realize, okay, life is going to go on. So you adopt new ways of doing things. And you learn new skills and prepare yourself for the new normal. And one of the things, if I were to add a stage to the grieving process, for me, that one would have to be what we call empathy. Because no one can truly appreciate the pain that someone goes through when they are grieving unless they have been there.
Yes, ma'am.
So for me, I would add empathy.
Yes, ma'am.
And you express that to others, and as you give empathy, you are also experiencing healing.
I think that's an excellent note to end on. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Dr. Kelly.
My absolute pleasure.
This was Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, with other people. I'm Noreen Daly. Until next time.
Husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for